I don't need other people to always be looking after me. And that's really what we try to achieve with our kids.
So every success story then is a hard-fought battle for each of the
Yes.
individuals,
Yes.
fought with the help of people from kind.
Yes, and from
Because they're fighting against their backgrounds, against poverty, trying to just get to that level of education where they can make something of themselves.
That's correct. And also we have the children who come there with very positive minds. I take my hats off to the teachers who have helped them there. Not only kind teachers, but other people who have been in their life, a positive influence in their life. When the children come as well, we try to get the children to be vocal and say, you know, what can we do to help? And sometimes they say, you know, my mother needs help, my brother needs help. I mean, we have also helped families. Recently we had floods, very bad floods in Trinidad. A lot of families lost furniture and damage to their homes. And thank God we were able to assist these families in getting items that they lost, their beds, their stove, their fridge, etc. And some of the children who are part of the literacy program at Kindness who suffered as well. And we were able to support them. I mean, we can't buy everything for them, but we definitely can try, and we can try and get donations, etc., from corporate. Again, corporate Trinidad is amazing. They always come and help, even if they're not only helping kind, they're helping many other NGOs in Trinidad survive. So hats off to corporate, if they're making money and they have their own business, they don't need to help, but they do, because they're helping the people of Trinidad, because they exist in this society here. So helping another person, you know, attain higher achievements or attain goals that you normally would not be able to attain is very, very positive. So we're very grateful for that support by corporate Trinidad too.
I guess there's the danger though with the economic downturn that you may see a falling in that support. I know the St. Mary's Home was saying they were having problems with their corporate support.
I'm sure we have a lot of that to look, I can't say look forward to at all, but I expect we'll see a difference. At the moment, we try and help and do what we can. If we can't financially assist a family or a child, we refer them to someone who can. But we're not going to turn our backs on children because we cannot financially support them. We might be able to support them, you know, in terms of maybe literacy at the center. We might be able to support them in having a student counselor guide them. We might be able to support them by listening to them. A lot of times, many cases that come to us at the center really come to talk. They really come to be guided, to be directed into somewhere or someone else who's able to help. And we've been very fortunate to be able to get the services of psychologists, people with counseling experience, to be able to support us at Kind. And that has really carried us a long way.
I suppose the really troubled kids who've been abused are probably the hardest ones to deal with, aren't they?
Yes, and we don't
because
try
there's
and
psychological damage there quite
yes,
often.
yes, and we don't really try to reinvent the wheel either. We want to put that child onto the expert. We are not the experts in that field. We hire the experts for things like that. We would request, of course, maybe different prices, or if a fee could be waived, so that a psychologist can get involved in Kind, and we try and get the money to, you know, maybe do a program. Maybe a psychologist may not be able to do a one-on-one, but they may be able to do some counseling with 3 children who have similar issues and narrow it down. You know, so we try and work as best as we can with the means that we have.
Do you ever have times when you say, well, that's a lost cause, we can't help that kid?
Never.
Not in the 13 years?
Never. And I will never. Imagine if that was your child.
Even if you can't make the full difference, you at least try and go as far as you can.
We go as far as we can, and no child cannot be helped, or no family cannot be helped. Imagine if that was your child, and if you needed help for your child, and every door that you went to was shut, I wouldn't be able to deal with that. So we have to help, even if it's referring someone else, even if it's referring a case to somebody else who can help. They must get help somewhere. I mean, we've had cases before. I remember this one particular case was a very troubled boy. And he had a lot of difficulty trusting. But what we learned from him was the fact that we need to do trust exercises at Kind. And we need to employ a drama group, a psychologist, to help us determine how best can we get these children to trust. Because trust is a very serious an important point. For kids to be able to trust, it means they open up to you. And if they need help, they'll be able to tell you what kind of help they need. And this is what we learned from him. Now, in his case, he was so troubled, he was also on drugs. And there was no way that we certainly can't provide counseling for a child who's on drugs, but we certainly know who can. And we were able to refer him there. And he spent about 3 years getting help. He was still involved in different situations that were not positive, but in the end result, he knew where to go for help. And he's still being rehabilitated right now. But the fact is, he's come off the drug and trying to get help.
So he's on the path.
Yes.
This is what the direction in your name is all about.
That's correct.
No, I think we all can all agree it's wonderful that there are NGOs such as yours that take care of these kids that fall through the cracks. But I sometimes ask myself, isn't this what we pay taxes for government to do? I mean, shouldn't the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development be doing these things? Why do we need private individuals to take their own time, effort, money and sweat to run around begging for money to do the things that our taxpayers' dollars should be paying for?
Well, that's a valid point. Remember, Trinidad is not that old, yeah? You know, we're still very young as a nation, as an independent nation. The second part of that is we all live together. We don't live alone in our society. So even though I agree with you, I also feel partial to the fact that we live as a group. And if we live as a group, then we have to help those who can't help themselves. And the other part of that is I do agree that the government is responsible for providing certain services. But if a government is finding difficulty in the recognition of being able to help a society grow and develop as human beings, then who is going to do it? If they're not doing it, yes, they should be told that they're not doing it, and yes, we should ask for assistance, and yes, they should help. But I'm not going to stand up and watch while others are not happy in their lives when I can make a difference. I still feel that the government needs to do more work, and maybe the programs need to be spread amongst the NGOs who are capable of managing these programs, yes. And hopefully, we will get the support in time to come as we go towards the 2020 vision. But at the same time, I can't stand there and watch a child go through the pain of not being able to communicate well because of a lack of literacy. I'm not going to do that.
Just to make a point to
yeah,
government.
just to make a point to the government.
But as a person, you must still get angry when you drive and see some of these mega projects underway, and you think, you know, if you gave us even 1/20th of the budget for that thing, we could help thousands more kids.
Yes, I do get upset about it. There's no doubt about it.
So shouldn't government then be working more through NGOs and funding NGOs who know what they're doing on the ground at the grassroots level?
I believe so. That's my opinion with it. I think the government should really get involved with the NGOs on a much more personal level. But until we continuously have this bickering in the government, it's almost like an egotistical charade that continues over time, you know? And the charade is what it is. And I find that because the persons who are involved, they're not partisan to sharing power. They want to control it. And as a result...
Even if they're not doing it well?
Even if they're not doing it well. As a result, the people of the country end up paying the price. It's quite unfortunate, though, and I do think there's a lot of change that's taking place. And I hope that with literacy in particular, our young people and our teenagers and children who are growing up in this era of literacy will be able to understand and comprehend and be able to make changes, necessary changes. Now, if you have a large group of people who are illiterate, you'll find that change doesn't come about so quickly, because even though they might be able to read somewhat, they cannot understand or comprehend, and they're not able to regurgitate what they have digested. As a result, it's very difficult for them to understand what is taking place in the country. If they can't read the newspaper, or they can't understand what is being said on television, how are they going to know what's going on in the country? It's only going to be what they're told.
For them through somebody else.
That's right. And once that's interpreted in a different way, you find that they don't understand what's going on in the country, so you can sell them anything. So the idea of keeping the majority of people illiterate seems to work for whoever's in power. So the idea really is to educate and have our citizens and our society become literate. The United